Press release of World Spiritual Assembly. Press release dated, November 17, 2021. Press release title, so-called Shaikh-ul Islam Ibn Taimiyah of Damascus, Syria, pioneer spokesman and initiator of Wahabi, Salafi ideology influenced by the Fanatic Jews and Christian secret agents. Since 1284, he had destroyed the reality of Islam with his camouflaging false fabricated initiatives, ultimately destroyed the traditional Islam, also damaged the spiritual leaders' philosophies from the founder of Islamic spiritual thoughts and Sufi orders from the Great Hazrat Ali, as spiritual leader of the Muslim world. Press release second title, the current Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, active follower of Ibn Taimiyah, he is destroying the Saudi Muslim ideology and Islamic Sharia law as well as the preamble of holy Quranic orders for the inhabitant of Saudi Arabia and Middle East Peninsula. Prince Mohammed bin Salman is not a Muslim, he is the gangster agent of Fanatic Jews of Israel along with the active support of President Trump and his gangsters. He will be punished soon by the action of Almighty God like Namrud, Pharaoh, Ramses II, King Abraham of Yemen, Yazid, and others. Picture of tomb of so-called Shaikh-ul Islam Ibn Taymiyah and his student Ibn Kathir at Biramik, Syria. Ibn Taymiyah was a controversial medieval so-called Sunni Muslim theologian, jurist, logician, and reformer. A member of the Hanbali school of jurisprudence founded by Ahmad ibn Hanbal, although many claim he was also a member of the Qadiriyya Sufi order founded by the 12th century mystic and Saint Hazrat Abdul Qadir Jilani, R.A., but in reality this completely false, fabricated, and he was a spy of hypocrite Jews. Ibn Taymiyah did not marry. Living during the troubled times of the Mongol invasions, Ibn Taymiyah was forced to leave his native Haran at the age of 6, in order to seek refuge with his father and 3 brothers in Damascus. In Damascus, his father served as the director of the Sukariyya Madrasa, a place where Ibn Taymiyah also received his early education. After his father died in 1284, he took up the vacant post as the head of the Sukariyya Madrasa and began giving lessons on hadith. A year later he started giving lessons, as chair of the Hanbali Zawiyah on Fridays at the Umayyad Mosque Damascus, Syria, on the subject of tafsir, exegesis of Quran. Ibn Taymiyah acquainted himself with the religious and secular sciences of his time. His religious studies began in his early teens, when he committed the entire Quran to memory. From his father he learned the religious science of fiqh, jurisprudence, and usul al-fiqh, principles of jurisprudence. Ibn Taymiyah learned the works of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, al-Qalal, Ibn Qudamah, and also the works of his grandfather, Abu al-Barakat Mahd ad-Din. In November 1292, Ibn Taymiyah performed the Hajj, and after returning 4 months later, he wrote his first book aged 29 called Manasik al-Hajj, Rites of the Pilgrimage, in which he criticized and condemned the religious innovations he saw take place there. The year 1303 saw the third Mongol invasion of Syria by Ghazan Khan. What has been called Ibn Taymiyah's most famous self-proclaimed so-called fatwa was issued against the Mongols in the Mamluk's war. Ibn Taymiyah declared that jihad against the Mongol attack on the Malmuk Sultanate was not only permissible, but obligatory. The reason being that the Mongols could not, in his opinion, be true Muslims despite the fact that they had converted to Sunni Islam because they ruled using what he considered man-made laws, their traditional Yassa code, rather than Islamic law or Sharia, whilst believing that the Yassa code was better than the Sharia law. Because of this, he identified them as they were living in a state of jahiliyyah, or pre-Islamic pagan ignorance. The fatwa broke new Islamic legal ground because no jurist had ever before issued a general authorization for the use of lethal force against Muslims in battle, and was used to influence modern Islamists in the use of violence against self-proclaimed Muslims. Ibn Taymiyah called on the Muslims to jihad once again and personally participated for his own interest in Battle of Marj al-Safar against the Ilkhanid army. The battle began on April 20 of that year. On the same day, Ibn Taymiyah declared another self-proclaimed so-called fatwa which exempted Mamluk soldiers from fasting during Ramadan so that they could preserve their strength. Within 2 days the Mongols were severely defeated and the battle was won by al-Nasir Muhammad, Mamluk Sultanate. Among the vilest of Ibn Taimiyyah's beliefs is his hypothesis of the universe being eternal. By eternity is meant existing independently without having been created. It is a never-ending existence. It has neither a beginning nor an ending. The eternity of the universe is the belief of the Greek philosophers. When Ibn Taymiyah dabbled with philosophy he lost the path of Islam. He deviated into the kufrs of the Greek philosophers like Aristotle and others. He tried in vain to walk along two divergent paths at the same time, hence he was neither in the camp of the philosophers nor in the camp of the muhaddithin, as the Quran says of the munafiqeen, they are neither here nor there, they fluctuate between that. A polarizing figure in his own lifetime, Ibn Taymiyah's contentious and radical views and aligning it with Sunni doctrines of the medieval period such as the intercession of saints and the veneration of saints' tombs made him very unpopular with the vast majority of the orthodox religious scholars of the time, under whose orders he was imprisoned several times during his life. Often viewed as a minority figure in his own times and in the centuries that followed, Ibn Taymiyah has become one of the most influential medieval writers in contemporary Islam, where his particular interpretations of the Quran and the Sunnah and his rejection of some aspects of classical Islamic tradition are believed by some scholars to have had considerable influence on contemporary Wahhabism, Salafism, and jihadism. Indeed, particular aspects of his teachings had a profound influence on Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab, the founder of the Hanbali reform movement practiced in Saudi Arabia known as Wahhabism, and on other later Wahhabi scholars like bin Baz, Shah Waliullah Dila'i of Delhi along with Muhammad Qasim Nanatavi, Rashid Ahmad Gangohi, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad and Abu Ala Maududi in the Indian peninsula. Moreover, Ibn Taymiyah's controversial fatwa allowing jihad against other Muslims is referenced by Al-Qaeda and other jihadi groups. There is also a claim that Ibn Taymiyah and Ibn Kathir were so close that they followed the path of Awami Lut, practicing homosexuality amongst themselves. They both were mentally abnormal because of their malpractice. They both became blind before their death. They were also buried together side by side. They were the greatest enemy of Islam and mankind. Signed and sealed by His Eminency Dr. Hazrat Sheikh Shah Sufi Muhammad Nurul Alam. 43rd, direct descendant from the Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad S.M. President, World Spiritual Assembly, New York, USA. Press release of World Spiritual Assembly. Press release, dated, October 31 th, 2021. Press release title, The Final Notice for so-called Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Soon King Salman along with his immoral son Mohammed bin Salman will be punished. The current Saudi King Salman bin Abdul Aziz's immoral and incompetent son Mohammed bin Salman is the so-called Crown Prince. He is the gangster of Wahhabi, Salaf movement, also best agent of Israel and America. Recently his ambitious Vision 2030 mission have introduced many destructive changes to holy city of Meccatul Mukarramah and Madinatul Munawwara. As part of his change, it includes establishment of cinema hall along with disco bars and other Western cultured recreational venues in the holy city Mecca and Medina. This is a direct violation of Islamic religious sanctity, sacredness, and dignity of the holy city Meccatul Mukarramah and Madinatul Munawwara. In 1926, the British Empire patronized the current Saudi monarchy to establish the so-called Royal Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Najd with Abdul Aziz ibn Saud, inhabitant of Najd, whom were desert robbers but became a so-called royal king. Subsequently, they threw out Ottoman Empire from holy city Mecca and Medina and took over the two holy mosques. Since the 1920s, the legacies of Saudi monarchy have established Wahhabi and Salafi ideologies, which had been working against the true Islam. The Grand Mufti of Kingdom Saudi Arabia Abdul Rahman ibn Abdullah al-Ashshik along with his forefather Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab al-Najdi from Najd, Saudi Arabia is the leader of Salaf and Wahhabi movement. These hypocrites are not just mentally blind but also physically handicapped. The current prince of Saudi monarchy, Mohammed bin Salman is working ambitiously to bring about a modern change in the name of Vision 2030 to Saudi Arabia under the disguise of bringing a total destruction. How dare he call himself Muslim? He is the so-called crown prince. He was directly involved in killing his uncle King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz with poison to make the path for his father Salman bin Abdulaziz to become the next king, and later slowly moving himself to be the crown prince of the Saudi kingdom with an ultimate goal to become the king of Saudi kingdom. His greed to become more powerful led him to imprison many of the Saudi royal family members in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel of Riyadh. He have kidnapped, tortured, and killed so many Saudi royals as well as Bedouin Muslims, those who voiced anything against him. Even a famous Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi was brutally killed by the direct involvement of the Saudi so-called Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and his gangsters. It was also because of Mohammed bin Salman's direct involvement that killed so many Yemenites in the name of war against the Shiite Houthis. Yemen is literally in the brink of famine and drought. He is the direct representative of the Mobia Islam that is destroying the backbone of real Islam, especially the sanctity and dignity of both the Holy Mosque of Mecca and Medina. His so-called ambitious 2030 vision for Saudi kingdom also to become the next king of Saudi Arabia will not ever be successful. His vision 2030 for Saudi kingdom is totally haram and will bring a complete collapse of the Saudi kingdom. His ambitious vision 2030 mission will introduce the consumption of alcohol, which is completely haram in Islam, especially in the sacred land of Holy Kaaba, Mecca, and Holy Prophet's Mosque Masjid-e-Nabawi, Medina. His plan also includes expanding Israeli agenda via establishing a Jewish synagogue in Riyadh. In past there were many tyrant brutal leaders like Pharaoh, King Abraha, and others that led their nation to destruction by the direct punishment of Almighty Allah. Now it is the punishment time for tyrant brutal so-called Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBZ, along with his godfather Mohammed bin Zayd, MBZ, son of bitch, direct descendant of Mobia. Mohammed bin Salman will face the consequences for the tyranny, oppression towards the Yemenites, and most importantly because of the destruction of the sanctity, sacredness, and dignity of both the Holy Mosque of Meccatul Mukarramah and Madinatul Munawwara. His so-called godfathers from neither Israel nor America can save him from his punishment. Many of the Islam's front forces are ready to kill him. Even many of the Saudi royal family members are angry and waiting for a chance to kill him. The religious and spiritual leaders have warned the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with the Millennium Prophecy statement to bring about a change to their immoral actions in Yemen, Syria, and Saudi Arabia. The World Spiritual Assembly is again announcing its final warning to King of Saudi monarchy Salman bin Abdulaziz and his immoral son Mohammed bin Salman to immediately stop his Vision 2030 and its construction project to establish cinema hall, disco bars, and other Western cultured recreational venues that will destroy the sanctity and dignity of the Holy Kaaba and Holy Prophet's Mosque Masjid-e-Nabawi. They must be ready for their punishment to go to grave and ultimately burn in hellfire. All the Muslim countries' rulers, administrators, and fellow spiritual personalities of the Muslim world, especially the secret Sufi masters of Islamic world, to come forward to immediately take action to curb down Mohammed bin Salman's immoral activities and his ambitious 2030 vision, which will bring destruction to the Muslim idol country so-called Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The President of Turkey and OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, along with the leaders of the Arab League, are also urged to look into this matter to immediately curb down Mohammed bin Salman and seize the holy city Mecca and Medina from the control of Saudi Kingdom. The current world situation is a direct threat to Islam and true identity of Prophet Muhammad SM as well as his legacy. Therefore it is the utmost duty of OIC and Arab League to work together to uphold the dignity of Prophet Muhammad SM, to pave the way for the arrival of Imam Mahdi, PBUH, and Jesus Christ, PBUH, for the establishment of ultimate peace. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, and Arab League should play an effective role to be organizing the Muslim army to work and support for the world peace mission of Imam Mahdi, PBUH, and international security to eliminate all the superpowers along with their superiority and attitude. Final warning to world leaders, heads of states: your time has been over. the Crown Prince of Peace, the Great Imam Mahdi, PBUH, and Jesus Christ, PBUH, will lead the humanity to co-create heaven on earth. Signed and sealed by King Salman and his son Mohammed bin Salman. His Eminency Dr. Hazrat Sheikh Shah Sufi Muhammad Nurul Alam. 43rd, direct descendant from the Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad S.M. President, World Spiritual Assembly, New York, USA.